Come closer. The shadows have missed you, and tonight they have a new story to tell. Welcome to Scary Stories After Dark. The fog rolled in so thick the sign didn't appear until they were nearly underneath it. Cracked neon hissing the words, "Now hiring, night shift only," like a warning, not an offer. Brooklyn slammed the brakes. Cammy nearly spilled her root beer. Jesus, are we stopping for ghosts or gas? Brooklyn peered through the windshield. The diner rose from the mist like a relic someone forgot to bury. Chrome siding eaten by rust, windows smeared in streaks like someone had dragged their palms down the inside. It looked like something out of a dream you wake up screaming from. "We need money," Brooklyn muttered, "and it's this or selling our blood plasma again." "I like that nurse," Cammy said. "She said I had charming veins." Brooklyn threw the car into park. The engine ticked like it was afraid to keep running. The air outside was heavy, like walking through soup, the kind that's been sitting out too long and smells like regret. Brooklyn adjusted her hoodie. Cammy zipped up her thrifted trench coat. Neither of them spoke as they stood in front of the diner's door, fog curling around their ankles. Then it opened, all by itself. No chime, no greeting, just a creak loud enough to sound like a scream stuck in the walls. They stepped in, and the air changed. Colder, wrong, too still, like something was waiting to breathe only after they did. A guy behind the counter looked up, messy dark hair, lip ring, easy smirk. "Let me guess," he said, "desperate, broke, and just dumb enough to take a night shift here?" Cammy pointed at him. "He gets us." "I'm Blaze," he added, wiping his hands on a towel that was way too red to be ketchup. "Cook/local bad decision. Welcome to the Pine Hills Diner, where the coffee's burnt and the ghosts don't clock out." Brooklyn narrowed her eyes. "Ghosts?" He grinned. "Kidding, mostly." They filled out the applications on a napkin. No manager ever came out. No one else was in the diner. And yet, the jukebox clicked on by itself. No music, just static. "I'm not saying we should run," Cammy whispered, "but if this place offers benefits, they're probably cursed." Brooklyn ignored her, eyeing the walls. One photo, framed and crooked, showed a group of smiling workers in black and white uniforms. A handwritten date, 1998. One of the girls in the photo had blonde hair, eyes too wide, smile too sharp. "She's pretty," Cammy said, pointing at her. "Creepy, but pretty." Blaze glanced over. "Yeah, she was." Brooklyn turned. "Was?" He shrugged. "Girl named Rosalie, waitress, found murdered in the woods behind the diner. Body showed up months after she vanished. Nobody knows what happened, but weird stuff started after that." Brooklyn's stomach twisted. Cammy muttered, Cool, not terrifying at all." As the clock scraped past 3 a.m., Brooklyn caught sight of a girl standing out front. She was young, pale, wearing the same uniform from the photo. She blinked, gone. Cammy didn't see her, but Brooklyn couldn't shake it, couldn't unfeel the stare. Then came the knock. 3 soft knocks from the back hallway, where no customers were allowed and no one should have been. Blaze looked up from the grill, paused, didn't speak. Brooklyn opened her mouth, but he cut her off. "Don't answer it," he said, "not unless you want to join Rosalie." The kitchen light buzzed. Somewhere, deep in the building, the soft sound of heels clicking on tile echoed. Elise showed up just before sundown. She didn't knock, didn't smile, just walked through the diner door like she already worked there. Uniform pressed, hair tucked back into a perfect ponytail, pale skin, dull eyes, voice soft enough you'd almost miss what she said. "I'm here for the job." Cammy blinked. Did we even post an ad? Blaze leaned against the counter, towel slung over his shoulder. Nope. Elise turned slowly toward him. But someone told me to come, said there was an opening. Brooklyn stiffened. Who? Elise blinked once. The girl in the woods. She got hired. Of course she did. No manager showed. No paperwork appeared. Just her, in uniform, pouring coffee within the hour like she'd been there for years. But something was off. She didn't blink often, didn't smile the right way. She hummed an old song under her breath, a warped, off-key melody that stuck in your head like gum on the soul of a nightmare. And when she walked past the old photo of Rosalie on the wall, she paused, just stared, then whispered, "She shouldn't have left me." Cammy caught it. Brooklyn pretended she didn't. Blaze just watched her too long, his usual smirk completely gone. Cammy was cleaning the counter when Elise walked past her and stopped, dead quiet. Then, without looking at her, she said, "Do you ever feel like your skin doesn't fit right?" Cammy looked up. "Sorry, what?" Elise turned, smiling too wide. "Never mind. Must be a migraine. I get strange when the moon's this low." She walked off, leaving a cold trail of air behind her. Cammy turned to Brooklyn. Okay, so either she's on something or she's possessed by the spirit of Diane Sawyer's evil twin. In the back, Blaze tossed a plate into the sink, visibly unsettled. "She didn't clock in," he muttered. "I've worked here 3 months, and everyone clocks in, even the ghosts." Brooklyn stood beside him, arms crossed. "You think it's her?" Blaze shook his head. "I think it's something, and it's wearing that girl like an apron." 2:19 a.m., the lights flickered, the jukebox turned on again. Static. Then, just beneath it, barely audible, whispers a single voice. Brooklyn. Her name whispered over and over like a chant. Brooklyn stepped away from the dish bin. "Cammy, did you hear?" "Elise isn't anywhere," Cammy said, cutting her off. "I just checked the floor." That's when Brooklyn noticed something outside the front window, a shape, half in fog, wearing a diner uniform, back turned, hair in a ponytail. Elise? No, this one was glitching, the head twitching too fast side to side, shoulders jerking like a puppet tangled on invisible strings, and written in steam on the glass, "She's just the beginning." The storm hit without warning. 1 second, the diner was quiet, fog swaying outside like curtains in a breathless room, and the next, the sky split. Lightning cracked so close it turned the chrome siding white. Then the power went out. Everything dead, even the jukebox. Brooklyn froze, holding a pot of decaf mid-pour. Cammy whispered, "Tell me that was a squirrel chewing a power line and not a demon flipping the breaker." Blaze, already pulling a flashlight from the supply drawer, said flatly, "That wasn't a squirrel." From somewhere in the dark, the walk-in freezer slammed shut. Hard. They gathered in the break room, huddled beneath the flickering red glow of Blaze's emergency flashlight. The light buzzed softly, like it was scared to stay on. Elise was gone. "I can't find her," Cammy said, breath shallow. "I checked the front, the kitchen, the bathroom. She's just gone." "She's not gone," Brooklyn muttered. "She's hiding, watching." Blaze looked down at his arm, goosebumps. "She always does that before something happens," he said. "She disappears, and then..." The radio on the shelf behind them let out a high-pitched shriek. Then, "Brooklyn! Brooklyn! Come outside!" Cammy kicked the cord out of the wall. "Nope." That's when they remembered Elise's locker. They'd never seen her open it, never saw her put anything inside, but it wasn't locked. Inside, a faded waitress apron with dark stains, a pack of gum unopened from 2001, and an old rusted name tag, Rosalie. Brooklyn stepped back. She is her. No, Blaze whispered, she's worse. Cammy made a break for it. She needed air, space, reality, anything but this diner. But when she opened the front door, she didn't find the parking lot. She found trees, dark, overgrown woods pressing against the entrance like they'd always been there. The same woods where Rosalie's body was found. Cammy screamed and slammed the door shut. Nope, no exit. The diner's, it's moved or shifted, Blaze said grimly. It does that sometimes. Brooklyn's voice cracked. Why didn't you tell us? I didn't want to scare you. You think we're calm now? The bell over the diner door jingled, but no one had opened it. A man stood near the register, soaking wet, shaking, eyes wild. He looked at Brooklyn, then past her, at Elise, who was now standing at table 5, still, hands clasped, smiling politely, like she was waiting to take his order. The man began screaming, backed into the counter, screamed until his throat cracked. She found me again. He ran into the fog before anyone could stop him, vanished. Silence. Then Elise looked at Brooklyn and said softly, he used to work here, briefly. The diner had changed again. It wasn't obvious at first. Same flickering lights, same smell of burnt coffee and grease-soaked memories. But the more you stared at the walls, the more they breathed. The tile pulsed, the chrome rippled like something was moving beneath it, and table 5, it was back, pristine, waiting. Just like Elise, smiling, sitting at the counter, humming that same song, low, syrupy, wrong. Blaze leaned in toward Brooklyn and whispered, she's humming louder now. Brooklyn nodded, jaw tight. She's feeding off this place, like the diner's her battery charger. Cammy appeared pale, drained. I heard her last night, in my sleep. She was in my room, just standing there, whispering my name like it tasted bad. Blaze turned to her. You sure it wasn't a dream? No, Cammy said, because I woke up with dried coffee on my nightstand and a name tag I don't own. Brooklyn found it under the floorboards of the back office. Old, moldy, nearly falling apart. It was Rosalie's, every page filled with neat handwriting, until the last third, when the writing turned frantic, crooked, backwards. Brooklyn read aloud. She called to me in the woods. I didn't mean to follow her, but the fog pulled me like a leash. I felt her crawl into me like smoke. She likes the diner, says it's safe here, says she'll grow here, says she's just the beginning. It has to spread through touch, through fear, through memory. If she kills again, she doesn't leave the body. She stays, she builds. If you see her eyes go completely black, run. It means it's already too late. Brooklyn flipped to the final page. Her own name was there, Brooklyn, scrawled in ink that looked wet, and below it, you'll be next. Cammy tried to leave again. She pushed through the back kitchen door, straight into the break room. She walked out the front, into the freezer. She ran into the bathroom, only to end up at table 5. Same flickering light, same hum from the jukebox, same static buzzing in her skull. She tried again, same thing, slammed both fists on the wall and screamed, "We're stuck inside a possessed snow globe." Brooklyn grabbed her shoulders. We'll figure it out. We always figure it out. Not when the building's folding in on itself like a cursed IKEA set, Brooklyn. That night, Elise didn't show up to the shift, but her voice did. First, over the radio, static and murmurs twisted into, "Blaze, Blaze, it's Cammy, can you hear me? Help." Then again, from behind the pantry door, "Brooklyn, please, it's me, it's Cammy, she's got me, I can't move, please open the door." But Cammy was standing right next to her. "Nope," Cammy said, backing up. "Nope, we're not opening that door. That's not me, Cammy." Blaze added, and not me, Cammy sounds like she eats her cereal dry and stares at people in elevators. The door rattled, then came the knocking, 3 times, soft, deliberate, mimicking Brooklyn's signature knock from when they were kids. "I never told her that," Brooklyn whispered. "That knock, only you knew that." The night began too quiet. No jukebox, no static, no weird humming, just silence thick enough to choke on. Blaze stood at the grill, spatula gripped tight, eyes flicking to the clock every few seconds. Brooklyn and Cammy sat on the counter, not saying much. Every word felt like it might summon something. Then, 3:12 a.m., right on time, the bathroom door opened. No one had gone in. Elise stepped out, hair bone dry, eyes too bright, smile like a carving knife. She didn't say a word, just glided past them, poured herself a coffee, and sat at table 5. Cammy whispered, "How long has she been here?" Blaze muttered, "I didn't hear the door." Brooklyn swallowed hard. Did she even leave? Blaze had been hiding it, the other half of Rosalie's journal. Torn pages, brittle and reeking of old coffee and mold. He handed it to Brooklyn without a word. She flipped through it in silence until her hands began to tremble. "I saw her again. Her skin is peeling. Her teeth are new. She's wearing me. I found my own body in the woods. She left it there like a rotted dress. Now she's moving into someone else. She needs a host to start, but if she kills once while inside you, she doesn't have to leave. She becomes you forever, and then she spreads. The next girl is the one who finds me, and after her, I saw the name in the dark. It whispered it to me. Cammy?" Brooklyn turned to Cammy. She hadn't noticed it before, how pale her best friend looked, how her eyes hadn't fully met hers all night. "Cam," Brooklyn said, voice shaking, "have you been touched?" Cammy blinked. "What?" "Touched by Elise, physically, anything." Cammy didn't answer, just slowly lifted her hand, revealing a faded bruise in the shape of fingers wrapped around her wrist. "I didn't tell you," she whispered. "She grabbed me 2 nights ago. When I found her just standing in the cooler, I didn't think it mattered." "It always matters," Blaze growled. Brooklyn backed away. "Is it too late?" "I don't know," Cammy said softly, "but sometimes I think things that aren't mine, like someone's narrating from inside me." That's when Elise screamed, a horrible, ear-splitting wail that didn't sound like anything human. All the lights shattered, the freezer door flew open, and fire, yes, actual fire, flashed under the floor for a second, then vanished like it had never been. Elise stood up, eyes black. No iris, no whites, just void. She looked at Brooklyn and said calmly, "Cammy's not yours anymore." Brooklyn couldn't breathe. Cammy's body jerked on the floor like a marionette having a seizure, mouth twitching open and shut, the same broken line playing on repeat through cracked lips. "She's still hungry, she's still hungry, she's still..." Blaze knelt beside her, voice shaking for the first time. "We have to pull her back, now before Elise roots in." Brooklyn gripped Cammie's arms, tears blurring her vision. What does that even mean? Blaze didn't look at her. If she feeds while inside Cammie, there's no getting her out. Feeds on what? Brooklyn asked. He met her eyes. Fear, memories, people. Blaze led Brooklyn to the back, past the dry storage, past the place where the cooler used to be before the walls moved. He kicked open a dusty grate near the floor, something he said he found weeks ago and never had the guts to open. It led to a hidden crawl space, and inside, the shrine, a wall of name tags, old uniforms folded and stained, black and white photos pinned to corkboard with faces burned out. One in the center read, Rosalie, first host. Another below it, Beth, second, Dina, third, then Elise, current. And beneath that, a fresh space, blank, waiting. Brooklyn's stomach twisted. You knew this was real. Blaze sat down hard. I didn't know it was still active. I thought Rosalie's body was found. I thought that ended it. You found her? He nodded. She was face down in the creek. I never told the cops. I ran. I was too scared. Brooklyn stepped back. You could have stopped this. I know, Blaze whispered, but maybe we still can. Cammie sat up, just like that. No twitching, no screaming, no struggle. She blinked slowly and looked at Brooklyn. Why are you crying? She asked. Brooklyn backed up. Cam? Cammie tilted her head. Don't be scared, it's still me. Blaze gripped the flashlight tighter. Ask her something only Cammie would know. Brooklyn wiped her eyes. What did you name your stuffed iguana when we were 7? Cammie smiled. Brooklyn. Wrong, Brooklyn whispered. You named it Teeth because it was missing one. Cammie's smile faded, then it snapped back on, twice as wide, and her voice dropped 2 octaves. She'll be mine soon. The floorboards started to sizzle. A low growl echoed through the vents. The diner was angry. Elise walked into the room. No footsteps, just a wave of freezing cold. The light above her popped. She looked at Brooklyn. Her voice, smooth and honeysick, said, You always belonged here. You just didn't know it yet. And from the kitchen, a new name tag slid under the door. Brooklyn picked it up, her name etched in rust-red letters, still wet. The clock read 3:13 a.m. again. Brooklyn had watched the hand twitch forward, pause, then click backward. It had been 3:13 for the last 6 hours. The diner was closed in on itself, windows bricked in by fog, doors leading to nowhere, every path looping back to table 5, where Cammie now sat, head low, hands folded, like a customer waiting to be served. Elise stood in the corner, silent, smiling. The lights buzzed above her, then blinked out one by one, like the building itself was holding its breath. Blaze slammed Rosalie's journal down on the counter. There's a ritual in here, not a full exorcism, but something close. Rosalie never finished it, but I think we can. Brooklyn glanced at Cammie, whose lips were moving, but no sound came out. What does it need? She asked. Fire, Blaze said. Blood, and someone who remembers her name. Brooklyn narrowed her eyes. Rosalie? No, Blaze said. The thing inside her. They both looked at Cammie, and she smiled. She has no name. That's how she spreads. A name gives her shape. You say it, and you give her form. That's what she wants. Brooklyn stepped back. Then we won't say it. Too late. The jukebox clicked on, and a whisper, Cammie's voice, echoed from its speaker. Brooklyn, say it. Please, say it, or I'll burn inside her forever. Blaze poured lighter fluid into a circle around Cammy. Brooklyn stood at the edge, journal in hand, voice shaking as she read Rosalie's final unfinished passage aloud, but Elise's voice cut her off. Do you remember the birthday party? The one where Cammy cried so hard she couldn't breathe? Brooklyn froze. Elise took a step forward. You said you'd always protect her. You swore it. Shut up, Brooklyn said. You said if something ever happened to her, you'd die first. Shut up. But the words twisted, became Cammy's voice again. Brooke, please, it hurts, it hurts. Brooklyn dropped to her knees, sobbing, and Blaze, he struck a match. Cammy's body convulsed, screamed, twisted. The flames didn't touch her. They curled around her, protecting her, blinding Elise, and from her mouth something black spilled out, smoke that curled like a living thing, shrieking, spitting. It took the shape of a girl for just a moment, face stretched, mouth open wide enough to split skin. Then it hissed and exploded into ash. Cammy gasped and collapsed. The fire died, so did the diner's lights. Silence. Then a soft click, the jukebox reset, and a Patsy Cline song began to play. The sun was up, a pale, anemic dawn that painted everything in faded beige and exhausted gold. The diner sat behind them, quiet now. Still, no humming, no flickering, no screams trapped in the walls, but none of them could look at it for long. Brooklyn helped Cammy into the car. She was weak, shaking, eyes dim. She hadn't spoken since the ritual. Blaze climbed into the back seat, silent as ever. His usual sarcasm burned out somewhere between the fire circle and the sound Cammy made when the thing left her. They drove, and for the first time in days, the road didn't loop, the fog didn't follow. 3 days later, Cammy started sleepwalking. Brooklyn found her standing in the middle of the kitchen at 3:13 a.m., mouth open, humming, fingers tracing letters onto the fogged glass of the window, the same window that shouldn't have fog inside. When Brooklyn wiped it clean, it read, Table 5. Blaze called them the next morning. His voice was flat, hollow. Someone else showed up at the diner, he said. Said they were drawn to it. Said they dreamed of a voice calling their name. Brooklyn's chest clenched. You shut it down, right? A long pause. Then Blaze said, We tried. We bolted the doors. We tore up the floor. We burned everything. Another silence. But the diner, it came back. Later that night, Brooklyn found an envelope taped to her apartment door. No return address. Inside was a photo, a very old one, black and white. 6 diner employees, smiling. Rosalie, Beth, Dina, Elise. And in the back corner, barely visible grainy, was a young man flipping the camera off, smirking. Blaze, he looked exactly the same. Brooklyn called him. I found it, she said. He didn't ask what. I think you've worked there longer than you told us. Blaze sighed. I didn't lie, he said. I just forgot. That place, it eats time. I've been trying to leave for years, but it always finds me again. He paused. Brooklyn, you need to take Cammy and go far. Now. Why? Because I saw her reflection today. Brooklyn gripped the phone tighter, and it blinked. A pause. The wrong way. Brooklyn sat across from Cammy, who hadn't spoken in hours. Then, without warning, Cammy looked up. Her eyes, glassy, empty, met Brooklyn's, and in a voice that wasn't hers, she said, You were always going to come back. Brooklyn tried to scream, but the clock behind Cammy ticked once, then again, then back. 3:13 a.m. Out on a lonely road, the neon sign flickered back to life. Now hiring, night shift only, and behind the glass, someone new walked in.